It's beginning to look a lot like last year. Every game I watch.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise Postgame show. Eric, why did I come back from vacation?
Because you wanted to see the Blazers lose by 38 or whatever.
I don't even want to do the math. It's a lot of points that they lost by tonight as they went into Madison Square Garden and got absolutely roasted. 112-84 win for the New York Knicks. 4 out of the last 5 games for the Blazers has been a miserable blowout. Every now and then they'll sprinkle in a little win where they'll look competent and look like a basketball team, but my goodness, this is falling off the rails, and man, I have not had a good past 24 hours. I'm ready to kind of roast this team, to be honest, so that's what this stream's going to be, and I'm going to enjoy it, because, I mean, got to take enjoyment out of something. Anyway, are you ready to roast this team? Are you chilling tonight, Eric?
I mean, I was disappointed with the game tonight. On Friday night, I kind of roasted their effort level. I was a little frustrated watching them not give effort and seem like they had already packed it in on the season. But then they came out and played well on Sunday. So I wasn't expecting them to go back to this right away. But yeah, unfortunately, it just did not look good from the start. So I don't know. Like, pretty early in this game, I was already dejected. So I don't know now, several hours later, if I'm that mad anymore, just moving on or what, you know.
Dude, like, I'm coming off of, so I had a rec league game tonight, part of the reason why the stream's going live a little late, and we blew a 20-point lead, and that was extremely frustrating. And of course, the Huskies lost the national championship last night, so that was heartbreaking, and I'm now 0-5 in championship games. I've just had a really bad 24 hours. And this is going to be my formed event. This is why I love having the channel, is I get to vent to you guys, and you guys enjoy it, which is pretty cool. So happy that some are happy to have me back. Rich did a great job filling in. I was listening to your guys' stream driving home from Bend, just driving up that highway through the Dows. I wasn't going to drive through the mountain pass and deal with snow and have to put on chains and all that crap. But yeah, it was enjoyable just to be on the road listening to you, listening to Rich do the post-game show on Sunday, so great job. Appreciate you for running things, Eric. But I am back, and I am ready to absolutely go in on this team. Like, I am not going to hold back punches on this stream tonight. If that's what you want, fine. This isn't the stream for you. I am going gloves off today, okay? But first, before we jump into it, you know what's something that is good? It's BetUS. They are one of the top sports books out there. And if you use my link in the description box below, you'll receive a 125% deposit match. They got all types of betting. They got slots. They got games. They got a bunch of fun stuff for you over there. And with the NFL playoffs coming up next weekend, me and Eric actually have a competent team in the San Francisco 49ers. Maybe they'll be able to break my curse. I don't know. But you can get in on that action. They got spread lines. They got prop bets, all sorts of fun stuff, and you receive a 125% deposit match with my link in the description box below. They're reliable, secure, great customer service, great sports book. Love those guys over there at BetUS. Shout out to them for sponsoring this stream.
Yeah, they have some fun futures I was looking through. Kind of want to do a video about it.
Hell yeah.
The like odds on players next team if they're traded. Those are always fun to look at. So
that'd be fun to do. Take an ad read off my plate. That'd be awesome. So
I got you.
hell yeah. Yeah, shout out to them for real. They've been a huge supporter all season long. I'm very thankful to have them. So if you guys want to get in on a sports book, definitely check out BetUS. They're good people over there. All right, Eric. So where do I begin? Do you want to like set the stage and then I'll jump in?
Yeah, so in this game, the Blazers came out in like a zone defense in the first quarter, and it was atrocious. Then the Knicks were getting whatever they wanted, and for some reason we were still in the same defense in the second half. So I don't really know. And then the offense featured a lot of ISO ball. And yeah, I mean, you can say what you want about the schemes and the personnel or whatever, but there was a play in this game where Chris Murray was in the third quarter, and there was still, this was before they put in all the garbage time. And Chris Murray gets a pass in the corner, and the other four players just stand there and watch as he tries to dribble in, can't do anything, dribbles all the way back up to the top of the circle, and then ISOs again for like 5 seconds and drives in. And not one player of the other four moved or did anything. They just stood there and watched. Like, that's not a good coach team. I don't care if you have the worst personnel of all time or the best personnel of all time. Your offense should never look that way, and you should never allow your offense to look that way. So anyone who's trying to argue that it's a personnel thing, I think is just being ridiculous at this point. Like, they just don't run much in terms of a set offense.
So yeah, okay, this is gonna be fun. Our offense is a freaking joke. We are maybe the most stagnant offense in the league. We do not move the ball. We were supposed to be a team that moved the ball and played off each other this year. We absolutely do not play off each other at all. We have no structure. We don't run good sets. Half the time we don't even run sets. And when we don't run sets, it's literally one guy standing with the ball while all four teammates sit around and watch him. And then we get stuck, so then Anthony Simons will try and bail it out, and he'll shoot a ridiculously tough shot, and then when he finally has a bad shooting night, then he has his haters that are ready to come out of the woodworks and say, see, he's not that good. What the hell is our offense? What the hell is our identity on that end of the floor? I'm gonna get into our defense and our defensive identity, but offensively, what is our offense? We look terrible. It'd be one thing if we tried moving the ball and failed to execute. It's another thing when we don't even try to play the right style of basketball and people say it's fine because we're tanking, right? We're going to get a good pick. We're in rebuild mode. Like, we just got to develop the young players. The young players aren't being taught to play the right way because they're playing in an offense that's an absolute joke. This stuff looks terrible. I was talking with people in my rec league today, right? I was just talking with people, some Blazer fans in my rec league. I had a couple people say to me that we run better offense in our rec league than the Blazers do. Everybody sees it. Everybody sees how much of a joke their offense is if they want to. But some people want to make excuses for it. There's no excuse for it. If you have a lack of talent, that's even less of an excuse to try and play one-on-one. We don't have a bunch of one-on-one guys, okay? But somehow there's people out there that love to kiss up to this organization that'll have it be known that we don't have the personnel to run a different offense. We have to run this offense. We don't have the personnel to pass and move and make reads, yada, yada, yada. Apparently, according to these people, we don't have the personnel for one guy to run one direction towards a teammate, stop, stand still, and the other guy to run past that guy, aka setting an off-ball screen. Apparently, we don't got guys that can even run and stand still. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. This offense is pissing me off, man, because It's one thing if you got guys that can play one-on-one. It's the one thing if you got Damian Lillard and you're just going to run everything through him. He's going to play one-on-one. He's going to play pick and roll, and he's the offensive engine, and everything's going to start with him. Okay? We don't have that guy. Anthony Simons is trying his best to be that guy, and he's done a decent job, but he's not Dame. He's not Dame. And even with Dame, it was a critique of ours that we still need to find ways to move the ball and make things a little bit easier on him. But at least we had that really good superstar caliber player that could actually take control of an offense with very little structure and make it work. We don't have that guy anymore, but somehow the personnel is why we have to play the same exact basketball that we did when we force-fed everything through Dame, but now we're force-feeding everything through Ant and Jeremy Grant. There was a stretch there in the first half where they posted up Jeremy Grant like 3 times in a row. I don't remember what he shot on him, but it's just like, it's the mellow offense.
Yep.
You know, and it's frustrating. It's disgusting to watch. Like, the little bit of hope for this season was that, yeah, they're probably not going to be good, but they should play a fun brand of basketball to watch. This is not fun to watch. This is disgusting. It's fun to watch a close game where they pull it out, like the Brooklyn Nets game was fun. The only way this brand of basketball is fun is if we find a way to score 130 points, because that's the only way we're in games right now, is when we play against a lottery team like the Brooklyn Nets or the San Antonio Spurs, and we can put up 130 on the board. Which is funny because Chauncey's whole message is, we are a defensive team. We're not a team that is going to get it done by putting a bunch of points on the board. The defense is an absolute joke as well. But starting with the offense, man, we don't run anything. We have no structure. We look completely uncoached and unprepared on that side of the floor. We do not play team basketball. And that was the thing that we were supposed to be able to do this year. Even media day, there was little implied shots from people in media day interviews that, yeah, basically without Dame, we're going to be able to play more team basketball this year. Right? It's not everything's going to be through him. They didn't come out and say it, but they implied it. We talked about it after media day. Like, that was definitely some of the thinking. This is a joke. I don't know if they're still last in percentage of their shots that are assisted on, but you can say, yeah, they're low in assists per game because they miss a lot of shots. Okay, yeah, that would make sense. But in terms of the shots that we do make, the percentage of them that are assisted is also extremely low. That's taking out misses.
Yeah.
So, across the board, we do not play team basketball. And what's funny is, like, we finally have a G League team, so we can finally, like, have the G League team run the same offensive system as our NBA team. So if we're actually running some sort of structure, some sort of offensive system, when you got guys like Chris Murray in the game, Ryan Rupert in the game, Ibuwaji in the game, who have played with the Rip City Remix, they should be able to run what the NBA team is running. In previous years, that was a reason why maybe they weren't able to run stuff if you had guys in the G League not with the team and they're on another organization's G League team. But we solved that problem. Props to the Blazers for finally solving that problem. The thing is, it doesn't even matter because we don't run anything. So the offense is a joke. It's pissing me off. And people can say, oh, well, what do you expect? Like, you knew this team was going to suck. Yes, but I want these young players to be coached the right way and taught how to play the right brand of basketball. Right now, the lessons that they're learning on the offensive end are not good.
Yeah, I agree. It's just, I mean, it's the same thing we've talked about now. Well, you and I have known each other for a long time. We talked about this even before Blazers Uprise. It's just, it's, I don't know. It's not good to continually coach this way, even if, let's just say, people were right and the personnel was not good to run a structured offense or whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, you still try to run something. Like, it doesn't, you just throw up your hands and say, well, we're just not going to run anything then? Like, that makes no sense. And this is what, like, people will try to tell you that we should be doing, is just, we have to do ISO. We have to just play one-on-one because that's all we can do. Really? That's all we can do? Like, I can't stand the discourse that coach doesn't matter or the coach can only do so much. Well, like, Chauncey's not doing anything right now. So how is that supposed to, like, I don't know. How is this developing anyone on the team to get better, to get blown out, and to not move the ball, and to watch Jeremy shoot a bunch of times? Like, it's not even Jeremy's fault. Like, because Chauncey's even come out and said multiple times that he needs Jeremy to like do this stuff. So, like, I don't understand what we're doing with this season.
Yep. And as I've always said, people that want to make excuses for the coach or the GM or the owner will always find ways to do so. It doesn't matter if we put 44 points on the board tonight. They will find ways to excuse how bad this team is coached. And at this point, there's just certain people that cover this team, and I'm not going to take any direct shots at any one particular person. You can probably figure out who I'm talking about, but there are people who cover this team that I am convinced will never have anything critical to say about a coach. Because I don't know how you watch this product on the floor, you watch this offense, and you come away with it like, yeah, this is their only option, is to run things the way they're running things. Letting Chris Murray play one-on-one while four guys stand around, yeah, they don't have enough talent to do anything else other than watch Chris Murray play one-on-one. Do you guys realize how absurd that sounds to me? Does that not sound absurd to everybody else?
They literally drafted a pass-first point guard to run the offense and to be the next generation of player for this team, to be like a full flowing offense that has ball movement and a pass-first guy. They literally like made their whole offseason around that guy. And now they're saying they don't have the personnel to do what the player they chose to move on from Dame for is best suited for playing a motion offense that has lots of movement. Like,
they got three guards as their core. Our core is literally three young guards, but we can't pass or move.
Like Trevin says in chat, like, okay, so Cronin gets every excuse. Like, what is he going to do? No teams want to trade with him. What is Chauncey supposed to do? Like, he doesn't have any good players. Well, people, at some point, one of those two people has to be held accountable by someone, right? Like, one of those two has to be what's causing this right now, right? And like, it's not, and it has nothing to do with us being bad or whatever. It's just like, once again, I don't see how this is good for us moving forward to play this style where Sharp's coming off the bench. You know, he's not even starting. You had a video about that, so go watch that after the stream if you want a more in-depth take on that one. Like, it's just, it's fine to lose. Like, if we're doing things that are going to set us up for future success, but to just run so much of our offense through Grant and I mean, Brogdon was bad tonight too, and the ISO stuff is just that's not conducive to building the team the way you want them to play in the future. And what happened to running the freaking ball? Like, why do we not run at all? Like, we don't push the pace. We slow the ball down off a made basket. Other teams can get fast break opportunities off made baskets against us, and we walk the ball up just like we did with Dame for years. And people said, "Oh, Dame can't." The reason is Dame can't play fast or whatever. And you look at Milwaukee; they're pretty high, I think, in pace right now. So like, it's the way we run things. It's not any player on the team.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Sorry, that just threw me for a loop. Okay. So one of the guys that I'm talking about, the guy this applies to the most apparently was on playback, telling people not to listen to the negativity over here. I mean, you can read his name in chat. I'm just tired of the ass kissing for the organization because it's disingenuous, bro. Like, I truly do not believe that dude thinks everything that he says. I truly don't believe that. Maybe he does. If he does, that's bad. But I'm just tired. I'm tired of the ass kissing for an organization that puts this product on the court right now. Because here's the thing. If it was due to the roster, then okay, well, Cronin had a hand in the roster. Oh, no, but he's supposed to make the roster as bad as possible. But also, at the beginning of the year, they might be good, actually, which just doesn't make any sense. But at this point, man, like, the team's getting worse. The team's not improving. The style of play is not improving. It was one thing earlier in the year to say, well, we're starting Skylar Mays. And I wasn't that critical at the start of the season when we were starting Skylar Mays. Because we were starting Skylar Mays. Like, okay, I understand it. We're starting Skylar Mays. We've gotten healthier. We got Ant back. Scoot is, like, has slowly started to figure things out. You got Sharp. You got Brogdon. You got Grant. Right? How is literally everything is getting worse. Everything is getting worse. The thing is, if we're young, we should be improving as much as any other team in the league over the course of the season. Oh, but we have no practice. Okay, fine. Why are we getting worse, though?
Right.
It doesn't make sense. And it's funny because you'll have dudes like that sit here and say, don't listen to the negativity in this channel. Why we're down 30 points after outscoring the other team by 14 in the third.
Well, what always drives me crazy, and it's the same reason I get frustrated when people come in and do it in chat. We
got outscored by 13 in the third. I messed up my words, but yeah, we lost by 28.
Yeah.
There's a ton to be negative about.
The thing that frustrates me the most is, so we'll sit here and talk about why we're frustrated, why we think this is a bad loss, and why we're not just like, well, we're young, we don't care what are we supposed to do? Chauncey's great. Cronin's put an amazing team on the court. It's just, there's nothing they can do right now. It's just gonna have to watch this crap for years. Like, we actually tell you why we think it's not good that they're playing this way. We try to analyze it in a way that is just what we're feeling. Yes, the past few years have been mostly negative because outside of like that stretch to begin the year last year, there hasn't been a whole lot of extended positive stuff. So the thing is, we'll give point A, B, and C as to why we're frustrated, and then someone will just come and say, they're always negative, don't listen to them. They never argue with what we're talking about. Yeah. They can never counter any of our points.
Yep.
And that guy particularly can't because he doesn't know enough about basketball, despite him being some sort of basketball genius. But like, so he can't argue with any of our criticisms. So he has to like just condemn the negativity as just don't listen to those guys. They're negative, like that's the only thing he can say to us to try and get his fan base to stop questioning why he doesn't talk about some of the problems we have.
Yep. 100%. I am begging this team to give me something to be positive about. Like long term. Okay, we got Scoot. Cool. We ran Dame out of town. Cool. This season, I wasn't tripping off results. I wasn't tripping off losses. I don't care about losses right now. At this point, losing is probably good for this team. Mm-hmm. What I care about is the process. Okay? And the process ultimately long-term will determine if we win or lose, but I want these guys learning how to play the right way. I want these guys, even if they're not good at running a competent offense, I want them to try so that they can get better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? If these dudes can't run anything but iso ball, they should be trying to run things other than iso ball so they can work on it.
Well,
what the hell are we doing settling for iso ball when we're 10-26 with a young team and saying we have to because they're a young team? That doesn't make any sense.
Why not lose by 50 because you were trying to run an offense that it just wasn't working? Like, but at least you were trying to run sets and stuff like that. Like, how could that be worse than what we did tonight?
Yeah, like, we have no practice time. Okay, well, when you lose 4 out of 5 games by like 20 points at least, you might as well treat games like practices. You know what I mean? Like, this is a developmental year, right? I said that before the season. It's all about player development, okay? It's not necessarily about wins or losses. The big problem I have right now is they are not doing what they need to do to properly teach these guys how to play the right style of basketball. And I don't know how you can argue otherwise. Because that's the thing, is it's not that people say, oh, we're actually running a good offense. Because you can't argue that we are running a good offense. Mm. The only thing you could say is, well, they have to run a bad offense. which is just BS.
Yeah.
It's bullshit, man. So it's frustrating. It's frustrating. Like Chauncey needs to go after the season.
Yeah. For the record, we haven't talked about that guy in a long time. And the reason why we're calling him out is because he specifically mentioned us tonight, apparently. So that's the reason why I went in on him and didn't hold back.
More than happy to take shots back. Yeah, 100%.
Yep. So don't.
I might be on playback soon too. So
don't poke that if you don't want.
I
deal
mean,
with the consequences.
Yeah, I have no problem. If you guys have been here since day one, you guys know we have no problem engaging in beef. Yeah, meanwhile, you got another media guy calling Raymond Felton a Blazer legend on Twitter. What are we doing today, man? I mean, if it was a joke, good joke. Great joke. That dude, that's sacrilegious if that was not a joke.
I mean, I can't see that. No. Raymond Felton played here one season and it was terrible.
Oh my god, that dude's the worst. Might as well call GP 2 weeks a Blazer legend too.
Well, point. There's the what was his name, Tanner or something on Twitter. It calls every former Blazer a legend. Mm-hmm. I think it was more like that.
I don't even think he would call Raymond Felton a Blazer legend.
Maybe.
Yeah, I hope he's joking. I mean, here's the thing. You got people that work for the team that know people in the organization and like them personally, and that probably has a part in some of the opinions that they have. I can't even blame them for that, right? If I was really good friends with Chauncey Billups, shoot, it would probably be harder to sit here and just hold him over the fire for the job he's doing, right?
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't want to be friends with or be, like, tight with anyone in the organization for that reason. Because I want to call it like I see it and try and be as unbiased as possible, and whether that means I'm positive or negative, I try and base everything I say off the job that they're doing. I spent the first third of last year, like, when everybody's freaking out at Chauncey, saying, like, I want to give Chauncey more time. It was maybe the first half of last year. People came in here and said, you're not criticizing Chauncey. That's ridiculous. Like, when are you going to finally start calling Chauncey out? And I sat here and I said, I'm just being patient. Like, there's no reason to rush to judgment. He's had barely over a year. In his first year, Dame got hurt, right? So I didn't know. So I wasn't going to criticize him when I felt like I still needed more time to evaluate him, right? But at this point, we've seen enough, and it is what it is. It's not good. And you can't sit here and make valid excuses for us having to play offense this way when this dude, when he was hired, preached ball movement, preached connectivity. Has he completely given up on all the things he said he wanted to do when he got hired? I know it was a different team, but what is his identity as a coach? What are his redeeming qualities? You know what, Eric? It's pretty bad when the number one thing you can list as a redeeming quality for a coach is that his guys try. His guys play hard, especially when they don't even consistently play hard.
Yep. Hold on, I'm reading chat.
What? Chat's wildin' tonight. Shout out to chat.
Who is Greg?
Yeah, who are we talking about?
Sai, who is Greg?
No
idea who Greg is.
Yeah. Anyway, like, man, I truly, personally, as a fan of this team, am very frustrated with the product on the floor right now. And it's not that it's bad. It's about the offense they run, the lack of effort defensively. The effort's fallen off a cliff. And this team not improving. Like, it bothers me. It bothers me. Not as I have to cover this team and, I want to cover a team that's good and make it easier for my job and, I like the guys on the team or this or that. None of those reasons apply. I'm a Blazer fan. I want this team in this organization to be top notch. I want to talk about this team contending. I'm a fan like literally anybody else that's out there that claims to be a Blazer fan. This is not coming from a hatred of the team. It's the opposite. I want this team to be good. I want this team I want this team to be coached right. I want this organization to hold themselves to a high standard.
Mm-hmm.
When they fail to do that, it frustrates the hell out of me. And that's what we've seen.
Yeah, and outside of Ayton, we weren't really missing a ton of like our regular players, right?
Yeah.
Jabari, I mean, he's like our eighth man or something, you know?
Yeah. I mean, if we had Jabari, he would be trying to play iso ball too, I guess. Shout out to Jabari, he cuts. Like, some of these players just got to take it upon themselves. But man, we've seen it Chauncey's entire tenure here. We've seen little flashes of better basketball, but they're just flashes. They're not real.
Aeromancer's been digging in a lot of analytics lately. We're 30th in cuts, according to him.
We have athletes.
Yeah.
We got guys we can throw a lob to if they backdoor.
It's too complicated to cut, though.
Dude, I mean, I understand that we don't have a ton of shooting, so maybe that hurts our cutting, but that's a flimsy excuse for being freaking last.
But Aeromancer's second point is that we are about league average in terms of points per possession on a cut. So that it signifies that that's not a problem with cutting. Yeah. It's just a lack of cutting.
Yep.
And it's a lot better than our ISO PP points per possession.
Yeah, we're last. Guess what? If we're sitting here 23rd, 22nd and cutting, okay, fine. Maybe you can find some excuses, young team, this, that, whatever. When you're last, you're freaking last. There's no excuse for being last. And if he had veteran teams that cut better earlier in his tenure here, then you can say it's a product of the roster. But then when the roster has changed and changed and changed, and we've consistently not cut, what's the common denominator? It's not the roster. What's the common denominator? Sometimes you just got to think about these things logically.
Mm-hmm. In terms of how many players do you think we have suited to ISO? Basically Anthony. Right now, that's pretty much
Jeremy
the only...
sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, Jeremy can do it a little bit if the offense bogs down, but I don't think that should be excuse me. That shouldn't be we shouldn't be calling a Jeremy or an Ant ISO right now in any possession. That should be a last resort if the offense breaks down, right?
Yeah. But I mean, the offense breaks down on almost every possession too, because we just stand around the arc, kind of move the ball around the arc, do a weak handoff, don't turn the corner off the pick and roll, and just and then we have to chuck up some crap. And that's literally our entire offense. So, I mean, it's frustrating, man. It's frustrating. There's no excuse for it. People that make excuses, they want to make excuses for one reason or another. I don't know why. But...
And then that's the other thing we heard for years under Stotts. Who are you going to get that's better, right? Which, obviously it's a legit question to ask.
It is.
But I will say, how many people knew... some of you diehards, of course, knew these people, but how many people knew who Mark Dianault was or Will Hardy? Those are guys
Nick Nurse before he became the Raptors coach.
Those are guys who you would ask that question of other teams' fan bases that wanted coaches, and they never really came up except for, like I said, diehard people who follow that kind of stuff. But then we come and they come in and those guys would be like perfect for us right now. I feel like they would develop us. They run their sets. Diagonal, despite OKC being bad for years until last year, they were like pushing top 10 defense with like hardly any defensive personnel, no rim protection, like nothing on their roster. And they had like one good point of attack defender in Lou Dort and not much else. Like a veteran like Kenrick Williams, and like they were pushing a top 10 defense even when they sucked. So that's I'm not saying that Blazers should be like top 10 in anything right now this year, but it's just he was developing a system, and now that they're good and have the pieces for that system, the players are integrated into that system, and it works out like it's working this season for OKC. And yes, the personnel is not necessarily there for the Blazers yet, but that's why it's important to set the personnel that's going to be here long term up for long term success, and not just, well, this is another season. What are we supposed to do? We're not good enough. We couldn't make any trades because no one wanted to trade with us, so we just had to keep our roster and go for it, So this is what my frustration is. I don't feel like Chauncey is setting himself up as a coach for long-term success. It's more just, well, I mean, I'm trying to coach these guys, but they're not good enough. What am I supposed to do?
Yep. It's funny to me that a play or a coach can't possibly be bad if he doesn't have really good players.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's legitimately the argument that's being made for Chauncey. He doesn't have good enough players to do anything. So he can't be bad. It's not him, it's the players. So you have to have good players to be bad? Really? Guess what? You can have a bad roster and a bad coach. I don't understand why people think those two things are mutually exclusive. Like, I don't understand.
As Carl Pancake says, they're kind of throwing our players under the bus to protect Chauncey. It's kind of weird.
It is weird. I mean, it is weird. We got a dude in chat like, I thought the goal was to be bad. Bro, the goal is to develop players, to teach them how to play the right way. We are not ingraining good habits in this team. We also need to... The whole goal is to be good in the future, right? We need to figure out if Chauncey Billups can be the coach for the future or not. So his performance matters. It's not just about, let's lose every game as bad as possible and look as bad as possible doing it. And it's not just about the results. It's not just about, did we win or did we lose? That is so simplistic. So simplistic. We need to figure out if Chauncey Billups can coach. Right now, we are figuring out that he can't. He is proving to me that he can't. And I'm the dude that wanted to replace Stotts with him. I'm the dude that was preaching patience on him last year. Okay? I have legitimately no reason to sit here and criticize Chauncey for the hell of it. But I'm going to talk about what he is or isn't doing, and right now, I don't know how he could be doing a worse job. I don't understand. So, at the end of the day, I'm worried about development. I'm worried about who our coach is in the future. This dude says if we worried about development, why do we have a brand new head coach running this? He's not even new anymore. He's in year 3. Like,
You
here's
can't
the
even say he's inexperienced.
Year 1, 100%. I've wanted Chauncey to improve as a coach. I can't sit here and say he's improved from when he first stepped on the job and he's in year 3. That's the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is like this year, it's like Chauncey needs to improve. This team is probably going to be rough starting off completely new, but the team should improve as well over the course of the season. We're seeing the opposite, and that's what I have a problem with. We are not even 30 games in. Bro, this is game 30. Stop trolling. This is game 36. You don't even know how many games we've played. Stop trolling. Smoke less meth. You don't even know how to count past 30, apparently.
Yeah. And to the people who think that the development is fine, going into the season, if I would have told you game 36, we'd be having issues with Shaden Sharp looking like he's being completely messed with and not really even a part of our team right now, for the most part. Is that development to you? Like, how Shaden Sharp looks right now, that's development to you guys?
Compared to how he looked earlier in the season.
I'm like, I feel like he's being messed with and regressed right now. Like, and it's not even his fault, I don't think. I just think he's like not even a focal point of the offense or anything. Like he's not starting. It's not even like his mindset. Like, I'm not even talking about that. But like, I feel like we're kind of losing him right now, right? Like, what are we doing with him? Like, isn't it like one of the most important things about this rebuild is setting Shaden Sharp up to be a star? And if he's not, we're going to have a really tough time, I feel like, because then we're relying on two smaller guards again and instead of a bigger guard. So if this season is not about getting Chauncey to be, or getting Sharp to be at the highest level possible at the end of this season and not kind of question whether he's even a starter or not, like, this makes no sense to me. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand how you can look at that and think that, oh, well, at least we're developing our young guys well.
Yeah. Yep, 100%. You remember that board they had, like, their offensive principles, and one of them was play fast in training camp? You remember that got leaked?
Yeah, play fast.
We had 11 fast break points today. We do not play fast. So, like, even the principles that Chauncey supposedly wanted to instill before the season, I don't think anybody can sit here and say that we've successfully instilled that within this team as a part of its identity. Like, we have young guys. We should be able to run the freaking floor. We have athleticism. We should be able to run the freaking floor. We got multiple guys that can actually handle the ball and bring the ball up. We should be able to run the freaking floor. Our whole defense is like, we're going to force a bunch of turnovers. We've actually done a decent job forcing turnovers this year. We should be able to run the freaking floor. We don't. Why not? There's no explanation. It is baffling to me. And people blamed Dame for that last year. What are we blaming now? Literally everywhere I look, it's just like, this team is not being coached well.
Yeah, we're 28th in transition frequency and last in points per possession on transition. So, still Dame's fault. Rich.
I understand maybe like not being great at executing in transition, but like last with the guys that we have, the athletes we have, with guards, with Scoot, like that's the one thing Scoot should thrive in, right? Like, he's struggled, so okay, fine. If you want to say we should be last in executing in transition, fine. We shouldn't be third to last in terms of frequency. Yeah, that makes no sense.
If we're running like half the time, or even like 25% of the time, and Scoot's getting like 10 turnovers a game because we're going too fast, I'm more okay with that than him turning the ball over two or three times in a slow pace, like half court offense, right?
Yeah, our half court offense is a joke. Like, points per possession in the half court is probably pretty low as well.
I think Scoot turned the ball over on our first two possessions in the half court today, and he threw a pass right to DiVincenzo on the first play of the game that led to an open dunk. So that's not good. But I'd rather him be learning how to push the tempo and play that way than doing what he's doing now. And then, I got to go back for a second, okay? Guys, there is nuance to these conversations. Both things can be true. We could want Sharp to have a bigger role and be a bigger part of focus for the offense and all that, but we could also not want him to go back to playing 40-plus minutes and being run into the ground. There is all this middle ground, and I get so sick of people nowadays who think it has to be either 100% one way or 100% the other way, and there's nothing, no gray area, no middle ground. There needs to be middle ground with these people. Don't frickin' run Sharp into the ground, but also don't play him the way you've been playing him these last few games where he's not been able to get going outside the Brooklyn game where multiple people got going. And he did well because Ant was getting double teamed every play and got a lot of attention. Outside of that game, it should not look like what it's looked like with him at this point, almost halfway through his second season, after how much growth he had shown both at the end of last season and early this season.
Yep. But, no, he either has to play 22 minutes or 40, Eric.
Yeah.
Either or. I mean, the problem is people come in here and they want to disagree with us. It doesn't matter if we make a good or a bad point, right? They want to disagree with us. So if we say, oh, Sharp, 22 minutes, doesn't seem involved in the offense right now. Like, what are we doing? Oh, I thought you said you didn't want to play him 40 minutes and now you're still mad. It's just people that, think in a way where they just want to be argumentative. Is really what it is. So, yeah.
Greer says it's an easy solution. Make him a starter and give him 25 to 35 minutes. Why can't you do that? Exactly.
Yeah. Maybe, there's a comment. Maybe we shouldn't complain about the amount of minutes he's getting when he comes back from an injury. He played 40 minutes last game. So should he not? It was in overtime, so I give him a pass. But if he's limited because of injury in terms of minutes, why did he play 40 minutes last game? And then 22 this game?
Yeah, he had his minutes restriction lifted. But yeah.
I understand we play some garbage time and stuff, but he ain't on a minutes restriction. The injury is not an excuse anymore. And that also does not address, his usage. It's not enough for me to, really criticize Chauncey yet, but it's a bit concerning. The way Sharp's being used right now, that's the thing is, I'm not even making any definitive statements with, yeah, they're screwing with them. Neither are you. You said, but people take things as drastically as possible. There is such an utter lack of nuance with some people that come into our chat, and literally all our conversations are about nuance. All our conversations are about context. If you strip away that context and that nuance, you can make anything sound dumb, if that's your goal. And that's the problem with some people that come into our chat. That is their goal. So, fine. Fine. But there's people I can disagree with and actually have a conversation with. And then there's people that, like I just explained, the latter is frustrating. The former, I can respect it.
And the other thing, too, is, Sharp's an exciting player when he gets going. Why would they not want the excitement of Sharp getting lobs or backdoor cuts or getting featured in the offense right now? Wouldn't that be good for them trying to keep viewers entertained and not tuning out right now?
Yep, 100%. Yeah, we should... See, this is a perfect example of this, dude. Yeah, we should bench Malcolm to get Shane Nance scoot those extra 28 minutes a game. Bro, we can play Sharp at the 3. We're going to have to play Sharp at the 3. There's enough minutes for all 4 if you play Sharp at the 3. I know that's not necessarily his natural position, but the wing positions are very similar. So, but that's why me and Eric wanted Brogdon traded before the season. Even if we got back a little bit less than maybe we can get back at the deadline, at least you wouldn't have to risk him re-injuring himself. Hopefully he doesn't get hurt between now and when he's supposed to get traded. But that's why we wanted him traded. And people were like, no, you need this guy. You need this guy to mentor the young guards. You need this guy as a veteran piece. Now it's oh, well, they're screwed. They can't play Sharp because they have to play Brogdon because they have to trade him. What are we talking about?
Oh my. See,
The wing position, the 2 and the 3 are not different at all, especially when you're just literally standing around.
Tori,
like, what are we talking about, Eric?
I need you to explain this logic to me. We need Malcolm. Having Malcolm means that Sharp basically can't play the 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, very few minutes at the 2. I was wrong last game. I said he played all his minutes. There was a brief period where Ant and Scoot were both on the bench, but for the most part, tonight too, like, he was out there with Anthony and Brogdon, or Scoot and Anthony. So you want Malcolm, which blocks Sharp from playing the 2, but then you also comment that Sharp can't play the 3. So do you just not like Sharp, or what are you saying? Because he's gonna have to play some 3. And if you played Ant, Sharp, and Scoot 36 minutes a game, that's 12 minutes. Just 12 minutes, right? Yeah. Am I doing the math right? 12 minutes that he'd have to play small forward, and it could be more or less or whatever if they got less.
So how
than
many
36.
minutes did you say? Let me do the math again.
I think it's 12 minutes at the 3 if they all played 36 minutes and we had no other guards, right?
No, because if you play 3 guards at the guard spots, they'd each get through 32 minutes a game. 3 guards at the point guard and shooting guard spots. So then, so like if you're playing Ant 35 and Scoot like 29 and Brogdon, let's just say you played him 20.
I'm not saying Brogdon. Like only 3 guards.
Okay. Yeah, 32. 32. If you play 3 players at 2 positions, they each get 32 minutes a game. Adds up to 96. Divided by 2, that's 48.
No, I'm saying how many. So 4 more minutes for each of them is 12 minutes. So you'd have to play one Sharp at the 3 for 12 minutes, right?
Yes. Yes, because it'd be 36, and 24. Yes, so 12 minutes. You're right.
What I don't get is 12 minutes a game with 3 guards is not a big deal.
Yeah.
Every team plays more than 12 minutes a game with 3 guards. Every single team. And the 4 best teams, I saw this on a Blazers Uprise reply. The 4 best teams in the league all start guards under 2 guards under 6'4". So it's not like good teams play big guards or whatever. It's just, it just doesn't make sense to me why we have to say it can't work because of Sharp playing the 3 or whatever. Like it makes no sense to me.
The thing is in a lot of sets, the 2 and the 3 are basically identical. It just depends on what side of the floor you run the set to. Mm-hmm. Like horns, you got a 4 and a 5 normally at the elbows. You got a 2 and a 3 in the corners, and you got the point guard up top. Right? So like point guard passes to one of the guys at the elbows. You can run it either way, and then might go down to the corner and set a pin down for that guy, and he can curl, and then the point guard, after setting the pin down, can come back for a handoff if you don't hit the curler from the corner. But that's just, the 2 and the 3 are the same rules in that set. The 2 and the 3 in a lot of sets that you can run to either side of the floor, are identical. It just depends on what side of the floor it's run to. But the thing is, like, we barely run anything, so truly, offensively, what is the difference between a shooting guard and a small forward? I would love for somebody that thinks that Sharp can't play the 3, he has to play the 2, to explain how that applies on the offensive end, especially right now with our system. Mm-hmm. It doesn't. If we're going to run curl sets for Sharp, it doesn't matter if you have Tamani next to him on the other side of the floor, spacing the floor, or Anthony at the 2 guard because Sharp's the 3, spacing the floor. In fact, it's actually easier to run a curl for Sharp if he's the 3, if you got Ant in the game compared to Tamani. Right? Because if Tamani's the 3, Sharp's the 2. If Ant's in the game, Ant's the 2, Sharp's the 3. So, offensively, there really is not much of a difference. Defensively, there is, because you're going to be guarding guys like Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, more than like a Devin Booker, and Sharp is probably better suited to guard Devin Booker. But, Sharp's defense, I mean, isn't that great right now? Like, he kind of needs to be challenged. And B, we switch so much. What does it matter if Sharp starts out on a shooting guard when he's probably going to be switched out onto a center if they run a pick and roll? Because we switch more than anything defensively. We switch into all these mismatches. So who cares at the start of possessions if it's a slight mismatch or whatever that people want to say because he's guarding somebody that's slightly bigger? We can't do that. That's awful. We have to play him less so we can showcase Malcolm, so we can make it so that Sharp doesn't have to deal with what exactly? Like in a comment says, so you play small at the 3, you're going to have a harder time rebounding, which leads to harder fast breaks. We already suck at rebounding. We already suck.
That's why you need the right 4 and 5 too. You need the right 4 and 5.
Like, the thing is yes, Sharp at the 3 with Ant, with Scoot, our rebounding's probably going to struggle. Long term, when we're actually trying to contend, actually trying to win games, sure, you can look at that and be like, maybe you need a change if that's bad enough. But when we suck, when we're trying to develop, when we're 10 and 26, I don't care if the rebounding struggles a little bit if it means that we're trying to develop our young guys. Yeah. Because our core is 3 guards. So if you're trying to develop all of them, a byproduct of that is probably going to be you're playing smaller and you're not rebounding as well. But you just kind of got to live with that. So.
And again, if they play 36 minutes, that's 12 minutes where they're each sitting out. So that's 24 minutes out of your 36 minutes that you get to play shooting guard and you're bigger. I don't understand why that would affect rebounding and fast breaks when 2/3 of the time is there. And then, Randy, you also say it's almost like we have too many guards to put them in the right positions.
That's true.
That's exactly why we do not want Malcolm Brogdon on the roster. That's been our whole point this whole time, and you're arguing that we need Malcolm for some reason. This is exactly why we do not want Malcolm on the roster, because it forces you to play Sharp. If you play Sharp, it's always 3 guards on the floor pretty much. And if not, you're sitting 1 or 2 of Scoot and Scoot, Sharp, and Ant. You're sitting 2 out of the 3 of them at most points if you have Brogdon in the game. So that's why we don't want them. We want the 3 guards, so the majority of their time, 2/3 of their time for 1 of the 3, and 100% for the other 2 are all at guard. That's
I don't know. Are you sure he said we needed Malcolm? I don't recall him saying we needed Malcolm. I think he's in agreement with us that Malcolm needs to go. And I think that's the one thing we can agree on is Malcolm needs to be traded. We probably should have did it before the season, so we would have never had this problem. But like at the end of the day, yes, you have Malcolm. Yes, you don't want to completely bench him. Yes, you want to play up his trade value. It doesn't make things easy in terms of like, yeah, it'd be great to play Sharp more at the 2 than the 3. But when you got Brogdon, Simons, and Scoot, you're going to have to play Sharp at some 3. And playing him more at the 3, more minutes at the 3, to work on developing him and giving him a consistent role and consistent responsibility within this team right now is more beneficial than any perceived downside of playing him at the 3.
And if you challenge him, do you really think he could not be one of the better rebounders at the 3 position in the league with his athleticism?
Like, I would rather challenge him to see if he can, like, effectively play some 3 and find out that he can't than just to not even try it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's not everything has to be perfect. You can try to do some things that maybe won't go well and see if they work, or put players in uncomfortable positions to see if they grow. But the problem is when literally everything is we're just going to stand around, we're not going to do anything difficult, we're just going to play a crappy style of ball, where like guys are giving up on defense, it feels like, then the result is you're not going to get growth from that. And that's what, when we go back to what we said before the season, this entire season is about growth.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, Randy's the one who said, bench Malcolm to give them 28 more minutes. So I took that as him wanting to play Malcolm, which he does for his trade value.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't want to bench Malcolm.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. He's too
Yeah.
good to just bench Malcolm. Like that's not what I want. But yeah,
Yeah. So like it seems like we're in agreement on the Malcolm thing. Like he needs to go. You can't bench him because you got to try and play up his trade value because being able to get assets back for him would be beneficial. So we are in agreement on that. It's just at the end of the day, like I think we've been very clear that we value the development of Scoot, Simons, and Sharp. We've said that before the season. We've said that all season long. That is the most important thing. These guys need to be developed properly. When their offensive system is an absolute joke, that's not being done correctly. They're not being developed correctly playing in this crappy offense. And then Sharp lately, like he plays 40 minutes last game, great. And then 22 today, like I understand there's garbage time, man, but my goodness, like it's just he has started to feel a little checked out. And I am slightly worried. I'm not saying anything definitive. Do not twist my words to make them out to be more than what I'm saying. But I am slightly worried because I think when he's been given responsibility, he has grown with it. He has ran with it. The problem is there was just stretches where we're playing him 40 to 42 minutes a game. I believe he got fatigued. He even spoke on that earlier in the season. So at the end of the day, you got to give him responsibility within the offense. You got to run some things for him. You got to put the pressure upon him to take it upon himself to have a bigger role in the offense. Some of that is running stuff for him. Some of that is just him being more aggressive. But you got to preach that. When you're bringing him off the bench, I'm not sure how you can effectively do that when he's just a bench player. It's harder for guys who struggle with this. It's harder for guys to come into a game that's already been ongoing and immediately like take it upon themselves to run the offense or like be aggressive. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes there's like a little bit of a feel out period, but you're joining people on the floor that have already maybe built a rhythm, already gotten their legs under him, etc. So some guys can come in and be just fine. I don't think Sharp's necessarily one of those guys. That's why I would like to see him start. But if he's not going to start, you got to bring him into the game. You got to start running. You got to run some things for him. They don't run enough curls for him. We saw him feast on those. We need, and it's not just curls, utilize his athleticism, get him going. Because when he gets going, he is very, very dangerous. However, there is massive stretches where he feels like a little bit of an afterthought on the court right now, which is fine because he's only 20 years old, but they need to build towards him being consistently the guy he is when he has it going. They need to get more of that guy and less of the guy that's just kind of like standing in the corner and then defensively just like isn't really engaged in whatever. So the problem is it doesn't feel like they're doing that. And when you look at like his game today, 22 minutes, 8 shots, 4 for 8, like 9 points. When we're getting smoked and the offense is an absolute joke, he was 4 for 8 with 4 assists, 1 turnover. You can make the argument he was our best player today outside of Jeremy Grant. Grant was 8 for 16, but no assists. No assists for Grant. He ain't creating plays for others. Sharp was, but he only plays 22 minutes.
Yeah, and his first 2 shots were air balls. You're like, oh god, was he out partying last night or something in New York? But
and then he bounced back after that and had
got that and one dunk that got him going, I think. But yeah, so the question that was copy and pasted by 2 different people. If you start Sharp, then ultimately Kamara, Thibault, and Jabari come off the bench. How is that supposed to be remotely functional offensively? Well, I think I don't want to speak for you, Tori, but with the 3 guards, there's no reason to not have 2 of them in the game at all times, right? So you'd always have 1 or 2 of Ant, Scoot, and Sharp in the game and stagger their minutes, and that's how you get Sharp playing 2/3 of his time at the 2. And that's why I want to trade Grant, and that's why I want to trade Brogdon, because, and I want to trade Thibault too. I don't think Thibault makes much sense on this team either. So,
it's like we're bad. The only way that we're going to become good is to develop Sharp, Scoot, and Ant and give them as much responsibility as possible. Does it make it tougher if you don't have competent players next to him in the front court? Maybe. So that's why, like, I understand the argument of keeping Grant around, but I think at the end of the day, they have each other, and at the end of the day, like, you don't need a Jeremy Grant to make it easier on those guys. If it's a guy that can just knock down threes, space the floor, and then maybe create a little bit off the dribble, that's fine. When it's somebody that you force feed ISO possessions to for stretches constantly, like, that's kind of taken away. So I understand both sides of that argument. I am for cashing in on Jeremy Grant's value with this year's deadline, especially because I think the Blazers will be able to get back a lot for him. But at the end of the day, like, you got to trade Brogdon, and you got to start running more things for Sharp. There needs to be more structure to this offense. Just every aspect of the way things are progressing right now is going bad. You know what's sad, though, is I predicted it. I predicted it basically at the start of the stretch. Like, things start to go bad in January for this team. It happened last year. It happened this year. And that's the problem I've had under Chauncey is, like, his teams haven't improved at this time of the year where other teams are improving. And it's just a bunch of excuses. And I've sat here and said, I don't want to be the organization that makes excuses for why they suck. I want to be the organization that figures out why they suck and fix it. This is professional sports.
Just nothing we could do.
We're talking about $1 billion, multi-billion-dollar sports organization. Phil Knight offered a little over $2 billion for a team. It was a low-ball offer. We're talking about a multi-billion-dollar organization. But when it comes to the product that matters, which is on the floor, the team, etc., when they're awful and they suck, it's just excuse here, excuse there, excuse here, excuses. They just throw a million excuses. They got people that love to suck up to the organization that will throw a million excuses out there as well. And it's sad. It's sad. Stop making excuses. Figure it out. It's like the freaking Mariners, bro. The Mariners have a problem where their owner is extremely cheap. And the GM had a press conference like, oh, the goal of ours is to win 54% of our games and, like, not to make super rash, bold decisions. Yeah, you know, just like a bunch of BS. But Mariners fans all held them accountable. All held the GM accountable. They're holding the owner accountable. For some reason in Portland, it's just not like that. Like, if the Mariners were in Portland, I think the fan reaction would have been different. You know, I feel like there would have been a lot of people defending the GM's comments.
Yeah, we're Portland. What are we supposed to do?
Yeah,
can't get players
54%
here.
is pretty good for Portland. Yeah,
I'll take 54%.
So, at the end of the day, like, I'm tired of excuses. Improve, get better. I understand that it's going to be a process. I understand that there's going to be growing pains. But growing pains, what's the first word in growing pains? Growing. We ain't growing.
Colonel Panic says, Grant is a 20-plus points per game scorer, not really efficient, but if you take him away, who replaces that scoring? Well, for me personally, you're welcome to feel differently, but I would say who cares who replaces that? But the bigger question is, over the last 5 games, who would replace his 7 rebounds total in the last 5 games? Who's going to step up and grab those 1 or 2 rebounds that he has not had more than in the last 5 games? You missed it, Tori. He had a streak 3 on Friday night of 1 rebound games in a row, and now he's on a 2-game streak of 2 rebounds, so he's doubled his output.
Progress.
Yeah.
Dude, he had like back-to-back games at the end of December with 10 and 6 rebounds. And it was like, oh my God, 8 rebounds a game in a 2-game stretch. against a San Antonio Spurs team that sucks. Like, that's amazing. It's sad when and he played 40 minutes a game. It's sad when you're celebrating 8 rebounds a game over a 2-game stretch against a bad team from your athletic power forward who plays 40 minutes a game in both those games. But that's how bad his rebounding is. This month, he's averaging 1.3 rebounds per game. That's comically bad. He's allergic to rebounding. And it's been a problem before he got here. And I said...
That's one of the reasons why we didn't like him.
Yeah, and I said, you know what? I am kind of curious. I am kind of looking forward to figuring out why he can't rebound. I still haven't figured out why he can't rebound beyond just the fact that he like doesn't box out and then just doesn't pursue the ball. Like he just does not rebound. Jeremy can score. Okay? I respect his scoring. He's a very gifted scorer. Mm-hmm. The problem is everything else. The problem is he's not the defensive player, at least in Portland, that people chalked him up to be. The main thing is you can't put him on guards because he can't get through a freaking screen to save his life. I said that before he even played a game here. People were talking about him being an amazing defender in the bubble, so I went in and watched bubble games with an open mind and just focused on his defense the entire time. And it was like he had some impressive moments in isolation that like people would see and rave about. But when you watched his screen navigation, it was like, man, he is out of the play on every pick and roll. And it's just an easy 2-on-1 on every pick and roll because he gets screened so badly out of place. He can't navigate screens, so you can't put him on guards. On forwards, it's like he's just not a lockdown guy. He's solid, but he's not lockdown material against his own position. Defensively, he is okay. People labeled him as like a legitimate two-way player. I don't think he's that. I think his defensive reputation is greater than his actual impact on that side of the floor. Boards, he's awful for a power forward. Passing the ball, he's not somebody, for as much as he creates, he's not somebody who passes the ball. He's averaging 22 points per game. He's averaging 2.5 assists. And that's with him being able to draw a bunch of attention at the rim. If he just consistently made the right play, he would be getting 5 assists. He would be getting double the amount of assists per game as he's getting right now. The problem is he doesn't consistently make the right play. It's just all the other things. He's literally just a scorer. And when you're building a team around 3 guards that can all hopefully be like super high-level offensive players, I would kind of rather have a guy that just does everything, that does the little things, that can score, can knock down threes, but will rebound, will set good screens, is able to guard guards, able to guard forwards, able to do it all.
Yeah, completely agree. I'm looking up this stat to see if it's true. It's not true. So if you take out Robert Williams, who obviously isn't playing right now, and Moses Brown is out, so Shaden is 5th on our team in rebounding, but Moses and Robert Williams are ahead of him, so he's only behind DeAndre and Jabari for regular players playing right now in terms of rebounds per game. So he's a better rebounder than Jeremy Grant or Thibault or any of those guys, yet playing him at the 3 makes it worse rebounding. Like, I don't understand that. Yeah.
That's the thing, is everybody just overlooks every area of Jeremy Grant's game because he can score the ball.
Yeah, so I had a Twitter poll up for 24 hours.
Yeah.
With the month to the trade deadline, what should the Blazers do with Jeremy Grant? And the options were keep Jeremy, trade Jeremy, or on the fence. And 65% of the 762 votes were trade Jeremy. 18.1% keep him, and on the fence was only 16.9. So,
see, I feel like if you ask that on, say, Reddit or channel, or
true,
you know, I mean,
true,
that's probably audience. But
I mean,
I was surprised by that though. For sure,
there was a lot of people responding that they wanted to keep him and stuff, and people that you always see on Twitter saying we have to keep him and stuff. So I don't know. It might be that they're just more of a vocal minority.
Yeah, that's possible. I mean, at the end of the day, it's for the right package. You made the point on the last postgame show, like, they should be able to get the right package, so they should trade him. At the end of the day, obviously, you don't trade him for second-round picks. Like, he's not GP2. So, like we say they got to trade him, but like if they only got back second round picks, it would be like,
Oh,
really?
yeah.
That's all you could get back? Like then you think back to Cronin's first trade deadline where he didn't get enough back for Norman Powell, and CJ lost the lottery pick, and that deadline was just a disaster. You start to think like, man, yeah, this is just another one of those deals if you trade Grant for next to nothing. So at the end of the day, they do have to get enough back for him.
I hear what a lot of people responded in the comments saying, it depends on the trade. We have to get good value for him. But I would argue that it would, I mean, I can't say it's impossible because of who our GM is, but I can't figure a scenario. Every team that is interested in Jeremy has an asset that is worth trading for him for the most part. And so I don't see why we would lose a trade or not get enough value for him with how many teams would be interested in him and how many of those teams have decent enough assets, whether it's picks or a young player, and how many teams have shown or been rumored to have shown interest in Jeremy. I just don't see how there cannot be enough value in a trade if we decide to move him. So I don't think it's a question of, will we get a good enough offer? I think it's a question of, does Portland even want to talk about it realistically trading him or not?
Yep, 100%. We'll have more regarding trade talk and videos and streams and whatnot. But deadline's less than a month away because it's on February 8th. It's January 9th.
It's 4 weeks from Thursday.
Yeah. So we'll have Tankathon coming up and maybe talk about a couple of prospects in that segment and maybe take a couple questions from chat. Before
I want burning down the house, apparently. How's...
Burning down the house. The house is already in ashes. Yeah, the house is already a pile of
I want
ashes.
them to build back the house.
Yes. We need
that we know that are going to be a foundation for a decade, not players that you will eventually have to move on for, won't be a part of it for more than half of the primes of Anthony and Scoot and all that.
Eric, we need lumber. We don't need a pretty vase that we can set on a table that we don't have.
Yes.
So, yeah, 100%. Shout out to JB Savvy, member for 1 month. A new channel member. Love to see it. What's up, JP? Good to see you, man. He says, shout out to the Knicks broadcast. Ibu Baggy. No typo. Did they misspell it, or did they call him Ibu Baggy?
I don't.
Badgy.
I listened to the Blazers one. I kept hearing that joke on Twitter, but yeah, I don't know.
I think they said Anthony Simmons at some point. Which, if you're still calling Anthony Simmons, you should have your media card or broadcast card revoked. Like, this dude is averaging 25 a game, and it's spelled with one M, like Simon with an S on it. If you can't figure that out, that's kind of embarrassing. So that stuff annoys me. Before we get into Tankathon, once again, I'd like to thank our sponsor for the stream, BetUS. BetUS is a leading online betting platform offering a wide range of sports betting and casino games. They have a reputation for reliability, security, and excellent customer service. You can sign up with the link in the description box below. Our link gives you a 125% deposit match, which means if you deposit $100, you get $125 free to play with. NFL playoffs coming up. If you're an NFL fan or not, it's a lot of fun betting on NFL action, especially when the stakes are as high as they are in the playoffs. So I'm looking forward to that. You can get in on that action with that link if you wish. They also have baseball, basketball, college basketball, overseas basketball. They got a ton of different sports if you're into other things. And they are a great partner that we've had all season long. Love the guys over there, so shout out to them for sponsoring the stream.
NFL playoffs, bet on them. Use BetUS.
I am enjoying that I don't have to worry about the Niners next weekend.
Yeah. And, like, the thing is, 125% deposit match. Do you guys realize that's free money? So
Yeah.
like, if you put in $10, you get a free what?
I believe it's a
12.50?
minimum
Or I'm just
minimum
or
100.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 100's even better, right? If you put in 100, you get 125 free dollars. Like, why would you not want to do that?
Yeah. Obviously, bet responsibly.
Yeah.
But it's a fun way to enjoy sports, especially like I like just creating the extra intrigue in games. So college games, that's like something I'm planning to do. Just like placing some money on the spread line, just a little bit, or placing money on a prop, especially with the free money that they give with that deposit match, just to keep me like invested in games, because I want to scout players, but like I don't know how you do it. There's times where I just struggle to like care and just like, man, and then I get on my phone and then I'm like, oh yeah, there was a game on, because I completely forgot, because I'm just not invested at all. So that's like my strategy to just be invested in games, is to like have something else that I care about, a spread line, maybe a team to root for. That's fun. And then when March Madness comes around, I've had pretty good luck in March Madness, so I'll try my hand with that. But that's my plan for like scouting guys, because I want to be as prepared as ever for this year's draft. With our draft content, you guys know that we go hard on the draft. We know basically everybody that gets drafted. We try and put in the work so you guys can have good content surrounding the draft. Have guys that know what they're talking about around the draft. Like, for as much hate as me and Eric get for being negative, like we care about the channel, and we care about the product that we bring to you guys. We will put in the work to make the product better. Whether it's graphics, whether it's scouting, whether it's knowing trade talk, knowing salaries, knowing the CBA, knowing team situations, all that. We put in the work, man.
We're always being here.
Yep.
Even if it's later or one of us isn't here.
Yep. So even if I'm struggling with my internet in Sun River, I tried to come on Postgame streams on vacation.
Yeah.
Even though they're losing. Well, they did win one of the two games, but I get there, literally get off the road, immediately get to the place, and I'm trying to stream within 5 minutes of walking into the place after we lose by like 25 points. So
fun.
Yeah. But
I'm later this year or this season, I'm planning on doing a stream from Vegas. That'll be fun.
Oh boy. Don't bring any strippers onto the stream.
Well, it's kind of funny you say.
We'll get demonetized. That's the only reason I'm telling you not to.
No, taking my daughter there for her 21st birthday.
Yeah.
Later on, and my wife and her are gonna go see. Probably go to a Thunder Down Under show. Speaking of strippers, but yeah. So I was like, that's cool, because it was on a Blazer night, and I was like, I'll just go to a sports book and watch the game and stream.
Hell yeah, that's the life, man. That is the life. So when is that?
It's in April.
Oh, I was gonna say, if that's in February, the Super Bowl is in Vegas, right? So.
Oh yeah, no, I can't afford to go to Vegas during Super Bowl time. Yeah.
Actually, the other thing too with BetUS, shout out to them. They're giving away Super Bowl tickets. Mm-hmm. They're giving away Super Bowl tickets. Let me look up like how you guys can enter so I can make sure I don't mess it up. But you guys can win Super Bowl tickets, and like whichever creator, their community, like they get to announce the Super Bowl giveaway winner. So I would love for that to be me. I'd love to tell people like, yeah, you won Super Bowl tickets. But yeah, basically, let me pull this up here so you guys can know in case you guys want to win Super Bowl tickets. I want to go to the Super Bowl. But let's see here. So yeah, in order to enter, you just have to place a bet on any NFL line on BetUS. Ensure your bet slip on Twitter. Minimum $25 bet. And then when you tweet it, you tag BetUS official and the friend that you'd invite with the tickets, for the tickets. So that's how you enter. It's a really cool giveaway. So if you guys want to win Super Bowl tickets, check that out with BetUS. Use the link to get free money and then try and win some Super Bowl tickets. Alrighty.
Gotta keep an eye on this Laker Raptors game.
Yeah, what's the score in that one?
8 seconds left.
131-28. Did I spoil it?
Yeah, Lakers
Raptors just hit a 3. The Raptors are... Jakob Poeltl's out. They don't have their pick unless it's top 6 because they traded it for Jakob Poeltl. Messiah's run that organization into the ground, bro.
What have you given your full thoughts on that trade, though?
I mean, I think the trade's okay. I feel like they probably could have gotten something a little better. I mean, they need to blow it up. They have no chance of getting to contention unless they do a full-scale rebuild, in my opinion. Scotty Barnes is still young enough to do a full-scale rebuild around him. You can do it with Barrett. You can do it with Quickly. They already suck when they got Pascal Siakam, who's great. But you're just running lineups out here. You're running, now they're playing Jonte Porter, Chris Boucher, Thaddeus Young. It's just not a good team. Who's their third best player? RJ Barrett is not good enough to be your third best player on a legitimate, was he the third best player in New York?
They got Siakam, Barnes, and
Poeltl, I guess, is your third best player?
Quickly.
Is Quickly good enough to be the third best player on a good
I think he is, yeah.
But the thing is, in order for him to be the third best player, and they still lose.
Oh, they lost by 131. I was like, because it said on the court, Thad Young, Siakam, Barrett, Schroeder, and Trent. I'm like, what kind of lineup is that right now when you have Quickly and Barnes? They both fouled out, looks like.
Yeah, but you know what it is they still are not going to be good enough offensively, and they got worse defensively.
Yeah. We'll see what they get.
They score 131 in this game and they lose because they give up 132.
Yeah.
I've never been impressed with RJ Barrett's defense. He's okay, I guess. Emmanuel Quickly is not a good defensive player. Both those guys were great offensively today. ESPN. ESPN. Okay.
Obviously, I think they need better.
Do they got to do a full-scale rebuild to get to contention, in your opinion? Or is there a path without doing a full-scale rebuild, which is basically trading Siakam for picks, getting everything they can get for Gary Trent Jr. probably, and just embracing the suckage that comes with a rebuild?
I think they have a pretty good start with Barnes and Quickly, so I don't think it's a full-on rebuild, but I think that's a good point to start from. It's not as good as us, hopefully, but I definitely think depending on what they get from Siakam, if they got a Jarris Walker or something to add to that, I think that's a pretty good base level to start with.
Yeah, but if they do that, they need another star. The thing is Siakam is a star, and you got Scotty Barnes, who's broken out in his third year, and you got Quickly now and Barrett. They're still not good.
They've been playing better, but yeah, it's the rest of the roster, like you said, is a bunch of mediocre players. So
they barely beat a depleted Cavs team. They barely beat the Grizzlies. They lost to the Kings. They beat the Warriors by 15 on the road. That's a solid win. But it's just
not every team can look like the Knicks after they pull off a trade. And
their defense is just noticeably worse since that trade, though. And I don't think they lose to the Kings, they score 130 and give up 135. They beat the Warriors 133, 118. Okay, cool. They lose to the Lakers 131 to 132. So I just don't think they're going to be the team that outscores everyone on their way to success.
Yeah. All right, can we do Tankathon?
Tankathon time. Yes, we can do Tankathon. Let me see.
Yeah.
All right. Tankathon.com. Here we go. Let's see here. Just give me a second. Engage with chat, Eric.
All right. What's up, chat? How's
Don't get
everyone?
engaged to chat, just engage
Yes.
with them.
Okay. Eric Olson is really high on Zach Edey, by the way.
I mean,
I'm not
is he
laughing
really
at him.
that much more mobile, like Jonathan Gavoni says?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's okay.
You don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I still think that's why it's tough to answer. I feel like it's masked in college because there's no defense at 3 seconds, so you don't have to come out and you don't have to get hunted and pick and roll because there's ways to avoid that happening in college. So I still think in the NBA he's going to get hunted and pick and rolls, and he's not going to be quick enough to do it. Could he maybe just be in the right system like a Brook Lopez, um, and just have it be perfect for him in a drop scheme with really good point of attack defenders that can get through screens? Maybe that's the only way I think it can work, but I still don't think he has the lateral quickness for getting as many times as he'll get hunted in the NBA. I just don't see how it could work.
Yeah. Agreed.
But yeah, it's hard because like I said, you can just plan him around the rim. He doesn't have to leave like a 5 foot radius on defense, like so in college, because you can play zone and all that kind of stuff. Not that they play a ton of zone, but yeah.
Eric, have you ever seen the YouTuber Film Session, smaller channel? Dude breaks down defensive mistakes by teams and he slays me. Think it would be cool if you guys collaborated at some point. Haha. Have you ever heard of that channel? I have not.
No, I don't.
I would love for him to roast our defense, though.
Yeah.
I would watch that. I would watch that for sure. Okay. Tankathon. Time for Tankathon.
Dude, what the?
What's up?
The NFL literally made every rule making it possible to play good defense. And we have someone in chat arguing that the NBA needs to be more like the NFL and have defense because that's what will bring in viewers, and go back to hand checking and more rules to help the defense because that'll bring in people.
Yeah, no, not hand checking. People don't want to watch hand checking. People, what they want is when a defender slides and cuts off a drive and that guy just lowers their shoulder into them, they don't want that to be called a defensive foul. They also don't want the unnatural actions that offensive players take to draw fouls where they initiate contact as much as the defender to be called against the defense. The problem is there's plays where the offense initiates the contact. The offense initiates things.
Like Randall tonight.
Yeah, and it's called a defensive foul. They don't got to bring back handshaking. They just got to give the defense more freedom in terms of being able to use their body to defend, because that's what you're supposed to defend with. You're supposed to defend with your body. The problem is there's numerous times where it's like, what was the defender supposed to do when an offensive player initiates contact? And it's super inconsistent. So there needs to be more for the defense in terms of being able to cut guys off and use their body to stay with guys and to slow guys down and to stop guys than there is right now, because defenses get punished all the time.
Well, they were supposed to take out the foul baiting. I don't understand.
But also, it's it's not just hand checking. Players are more skilled now. That's why offense is better. That's also a thing that I feel like people kind of brush under the rug. You got centers that can dribble, pass, and shoot now. Far better than they could 30 years ago.
And analytics has made it so a lot of big men have to incorporate more than just scoring around their basket, or they can possibly not stay around unless they're elite at something else.
Yusuf Nurkic would have been one of the most skilled centers in the league 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and he would have been actually really good like 20 years ago because he had the big body to be physical because centers are more physical, less skilled, but then he would have had the skills too. Like, he might have been an all-star 20 years ago. Shoot, Chris Kaman was an all-star. So, yeah. Anyway, Tankathon, we're in 5th. We got 3.5 games of clearance against Memphis, who's without Ja for the season, but won. Have won 3 straight. So 3.5 games of clearance over the next team is kind of nice. We're a game better than Charlotte. They're 8-26. We're 10-26. It would be better if they were like 10-28 and we were 10-26.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It'd still be a game difference, but it'd be different because they wouldn't have to make up 2 wins on us. 2 wins for the Charlotte Hornets might take 2 months. So,
and we need to find a way to stay ahead of Memphis because they luckily won tonight, but that's going to be. It's pretty clear now that there's 3 teams out of the playoffs race in the West. That's Memphis, Portland, and San Antonio are not going to make a playoff run. Outside of that, I think all 12 teams could make the case that they have a legit chance of making the playoffs.
Yeah. The phrasing, like, we have to stay ahead of Memphis, I don't like thinking of it that way. Like,
okay, maybe not that way, but yeah.
Yeah, like at the end of the day, if they're developing players properly and winning games because of it, I'm fine. So if they pass Memphis because they start running more of a legitimate offense and the results end up being better, they're developing players and we win some games, that's fine. Like, that's the goal, right? The byproduct of things being such a joke is we're sitting here with 5th best odds. So that is the silver lining with all the BS. It would be nice to have 4th best odds. Alex Sarr would be awesome, especially under a different coach in Portland. So let's simulate this thing and scroll up from the bottom. At 14 is Phoenix. I got a sim where like Phoenix went from 14-1, but like the pick got swapped to Washington and like another pick got swapped, and it was just comedy. It was hilarious. I wish we had it for a stream. At 13, Lakers to New Orleans. At 12, Utah to OKC. Utah 18-20. Pushing for 500. At 11, you got the Brooklyn Nets pick going to the Rockets. That moved down 2 spots, Eric.
Awesome.
So 10 and 11 moved up into the top 4. Who was that? I don't remember.
Golden State.
Oh, the Golden State pick is top 4. Oh, no.
I mean, it's fine.
I mean, but this also makes it far less likely that our pick is top 4 because there's already 2 teams filled, and they're not likely teams. At 10, you got Toronto to San Antonio. At 9, you got Atlanta. At 8, you got Memphis. At 7, you got your Portland Trailblazers. Yay, we get Reed Shepherd. At 6, you got Washington. At 5, as always, you got Detroit. I swear, Detroit's always 5. So you got Chicago.
They're destined to be 5th.
You got Chicago, Charlotte, San Antonio,
Golden State. Golden State.
Yeah, Golden State. Wow. Okay. At 4 is the Golden State Warriors keeping their pick. At 3 is San Antonio. At 2 is Charlotte. And at 1 is Chicago. That would kind of be a depressing result.
I have a question for you.
Yes. Shoot.
If Portland was to trade with Golden State, would getting the protections taken off their pick this year be something that intrigues you? Because if we traded them Grant, it could make their pick much worse for us.
As like a fill the gap thing, though.
Yeah, but it could also be really a nice risk because then uh if this scenario happens, then we're fine with
Yeah.
moving down a couple spots because at least we have 4 too.
Yeah, I just think like the 9%, if we trade Grant, that if anything would probably go lower.
Right.
I think it's like a throw and fill the gap thing. We need other value too. Like you gotta if Grant goes to Golden State, you gotta get Kuminga back, in my opinion. You gotta take a flyer on him. If we trade with Golden State and don't get Kuminga, I would be pissed.
So what if it's just like Chris Paul, Kuminga, and them taking the protections off the first? Is that enough?
No.
All right.
Because like you'd have basically a 91% chance that it's just Chris Paul and Kuminga. And that's just not enough for that being the far most likely result.
Yeah.
If you can get back another first, even if it's like top 6 protected, then you do it.
Well, the reason
a little something else.
I believe they traded a 2030 first, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just look it up to make sure.
You know what I would want? If they have their 2029 pick, Eric, I would want the right to swap any of our 2029 firsts with theirs unprotected.
Okay, interesting. So yeah, they traded.
They could suck by then.
So because of the protections of the pick they owe us this year, that could possibly go into 2026, and then they traded a top 20 protected first to Washington.
2027?
Yeah, and then it just turns in 2030.
Oh, in 30.
And then it turns into a second round pick if it doesn't convey. So it's most likely just a second. So that right now, like if they're trying to trade for Siakam or Grant or whatever, they can only trade a 2028 first. So they would have to come to us, even if it's Siakam, not Grant, if they want to try to get more picks than just that pick. But yeah, you could possibly do something with a slightly protected 2028. But yeah, I like your idea of doing a pick swap in 29.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just like trying to maximize the chance of having the number 1 overall pick while we're good in 2029.
All right.
That's intriguing.
So Chris Paul, Kuminga. I mean, I think we'd have to throw in someone else to make the money work perfectly because I don't think we're going to go into text. But okay, Kuminga, Paul, unprotect the first this year, and a 2029 swap for Jeremy Grant. Are you doing that?
I'd do it. There's a lot of upside in that trade.
Yeah.
Or maybe in hindsight it doesn't look good, but at the end of the day, we need upside. We need the chance to get like a true stud. And I think Kuminga has upside. I think Kuminga could be as impactful as Jeremy Grant by being like a better rebounder, better defender, better, he's a little bit more of an athlete. Like, he's not going to be the pure three-point shooter that Grant is probably. But Grant wasn't a great shooter coming into the league his first couple of years either. And he developed into a shooter. So maybe that's something you develop. If you have faith in your ability to develop players, you should want Jonathan Kuminga. So I'm not saying I have faith in this organization's ability to develop players, but Kuminga is a piece that I really like at a forward spot. And I think he can play either forward spot. Like, I think he plays pretty big. He has long arms, decent strength, like decent body. I like Kuminga. And he's cheap. He's cheap this year and next year. So, like, if you want to try and create some cap space so you can take on salary and accumulate assets, like, it makes things a little bit more flexible because Chris Paul's not guaranteed next year.
Yeah.
And then you got, if their pick moves up to number 1 this year magically, like if they continue to struggle, maybe they have the 9th best odds, right? And have, a 15% chance of the top 4. Like, you're maximizing your chances of having a good pick this year. And then in 2029, I think they could be really, really bad if you get an unprotected right to swap any of your 2029 firsts. Because you have the unprotected 2029 Milwaukee first, you have the unprotected 2029 Boston first, you have your own 2029 first, and then you could swap any of them for Golden State's. You'd basically have 4 picks that could be number 1 overall. 4 separate picks that could be number 1 overall. You could be sitting there on lottery night like, we are a playoff team. We have the 24th pick, right? And then you got Boston in the lottery. Let's say they have like 11th, and we get their pick. Milwaukee in the lottery, they have like 5th best odds. We get their pick. And then Golden State in the lottery, they have like 3rd best odds. We get to swap our pick with them. Basically, just one of those 3 picks becomes the number 1 pick, and it's ours. Who knows who's in the 2029 draft? I don't know. But I like the idea of just trying to maximize that year, since we already have the 2029 first from Boston and Milwaukee unprotected. I like the idea of just trying to maximize that year as a year we get a great pick, even if we're good.
So if they didn't take the protections off the pick this year, would you still do that with just the swap?
No.
Okay, so you need both.
Yeah. Because you're not outright gaining a first.
Right.
So you need both, yeah, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And they might be desperate enough to do something like that. I could definitely see them doing something like that. So I would not want Wiggins back. Don't want that contract. Don't think it's worth it in our position. Yeah. And then you have Kuminga, who's cheaper. You try and get off Ayton. You trade Brogdon for assets. Then you have some cap space. Then you try and take on bad contracts, accumulate more assets. Maybe you can increase your, draft pick capital in 2028 to 2030, because in 2028 we could swap picks with Milwaukee. That could mean we're good and have a lottery pick, right? That's how you get yourself into a position where you don't make the same mistake you made with Dame. Mm-hmm. That's how you get yourself into the position where you can surround whoever our core with, whoever our stars are, with complementary pieces. We could be in play for any star. We could draft the next Jason Tatum. We could draft, maybe have an opportunity at the next Victor Wembanyama, the next Chet Holmgren. You know what I mean? Like, having that opportunity down the line is what I like. And then in the meantime, you focus on just rebuilding things in the next 3 to 4 years without relying on those assets. And if you do it properly, you should be able to be good when they come. And then you get over the top with them, and then you win a freaking championship. Like, that's kind of how that's my mindset towards the timeline. So, yeah.
Would you be willing to throw Thibault into that trade? I think that's one of the only ways to make the money kind of work better, and for them not. I mean, obviously, I don't think they want like Moses Brown or whatever.
I would. I would. Like, you're Golden State. We should be better than Golden State in 2029. If we're not better than Golden State in 2029, something went wrong, right? Mm-hmm. So you're gaining something there. You're getting Kuminga, who I like. Can we ban the person in chat? You're getting... you're potentially getting a number 1 pick this year if they move up, So I'm all for that type of trade, and I'd even throw in Thibault. Why are you guys stuck on the Warriors? Because the Warriors moved up to 4, and we have their pick this year, so it's an interesting... That's the thing with Tankathon, is it presents different scenarios to talk about.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about that, but, it turns into top 1 protected next year. Who knows? They could be worse next year. They could be better next year. Like, this might be a one-time thing where this is the perfect year to get that pick, or they could be horrible from now on. So, yeah. We don't know. But this would be one way to kind of do both, right?
Yep.
Bank on them being bad this year, but maybe not in the future. But also, if they are bad in the future, we'd have that 2029 swap. I don't know.
Can we ban the dude, man? Why is he still here?
I got it.
Where's our mods? We got Arrow, who's giving us stats, so shout out to Arrow. Where is all our other mods? We need to keep attendance. We might need new mods, Eric, because there's a couple of mods that just have not been here on postgame shows like all year. And we need help when this dude comes in and tries to post fake Woj bombs. And also, I like seeing some blue names in chat. Where are all our mods? We should do job interviews for mods, and we should stream it on the second channel. That would be funny. That would be funny, for real. See, I love Arrow. My trade idea would generate a $27.5 million TPE. I love it. I love it. Shout out to Arrow. Mod of the night. Mod of the night. Giving us stats, coming up with trades that generate huge trade exceptions like me and you do. He's one of us. What is a mod? A moderator, which means they can like ban people from chat, remove messages, like that sort of thing.
Nate Jones out here defending Chauncey.
Did you see my quote tweet?
Did you do it?
I already quote tweeted.
You saw it on
Yeah, so Nate Jones had a tweet that said, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. I quote tweeted this tweet, said, can't be a bad coach unless you have great players. Right? Because he said, I see some of the commentary around Chauncey and the Blazers, and it's obvious these fans just aren't used to a rebuild. Young guys, except rare situations, make a lot of mistakes. It doesn't matter if you have the best coach ever. There's a reason winning teams don't play young guys. What's funny is, like, you know, you look at OKC, they're winning a lot of games. They're playing Jalen Williams, a second-year guy, a ton of minutes. He's starting. They're playing Chet Holmgren, who's a rookie, a ton of minutes. He's been great for them. I mean, we're literally starting Jeremy Grant, who's a multi-year veteran. Anthony Simons has been in the league 6 years. I guess Tomani and Scoot are rookies, but when we have more veterans on the court, it doesn't look any better. So how is that the cause? How is that the reason? It's not critiquing execution. That's the thing, is like all these people take it as like the critiques of Chauncey are based on critiques of players on the floor not executing things. The critique of Chauncey from us is that they're not being given anything to execute in the first place.
Mm.
So, but that's entirely how these people look at it, is just, if you don't have, you can't be a bad coach if you don't have great players. If you don't have great players, well, it's the players' fault. It's not yours. You can't be a bad coach if you don't have great players, man.
Yep. That's what we were talking about earlier in the stream, man. There's no sort of discourse with some of those people. And Nate should be better than that.
Yep. But, I mean, it's people that care too much about what the narrative is instead of what reality is. I don't care if, like, I want Chauncey to be good. But in regards to holding him accountable, talking about what he's doing, what I want doesn't play a factor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sure, I'm probably biased towards this or that. I try my hardest not to be. Like, it's...
Yeah.
I try as hard as anyone out there to not be biased. So, anyway, not used to rebuilds. I mean, me and you are nerds in regards to, like, who's on what rosters, what teams are doing, are they rebuilding, like, what do rebuilds look like? Come on, man.
This is the most athletic lineup 1 through 5 they've had. They're going to be able to do all these things this year. And now it's, what do you want them to do? They can't do those things. They're too young to do those things, sorry.
Yep. You predicted it going this exact way. Chat, do you remember when Eric predicted this discourse like months ago?
I mean, it was pretty obvious. I'm not going to take credit for that.
Yeah, but
it was very obvious that they were trying to set expectations super low so that when they accomplish their goal of trying to win, they would look like geniuses. And now they're trying to say, well, we told you we weren't going to be good this year. But that's exactly why they said that and tempered the expectations, because they all suck at their jobs and they all failed this year. And now they're trying to use the excuse that they said they're going to suck at their jobs. Once again, just like Cronin told you last year that he said that he was going to suck at his job when he said that like it's not easy doing a rebuild and all this stuff. Like he literally tells you he's going to suck at it and then gets credit for telling you that he sucks.
Yep. When you start to realize that this organization and the people that support it in the media sphere, like, I'm not saying Nate Jones is one of those guys, because he's not. He's just, he's more a Dame guy. But when you start to realize that this organization tries to lower expectations through the floor, then you start to understand a lot of the narratives that you hear on the broadcast.
Yeah,
around the team.
Oh, did you hear that tonight?
No.
Oh, yeah, Calabro's going on like, well, they're down by a lot, but this is what you get with a rebuilding roster and a young team, and like, there's not much you can do about it. You're just gonna have nights like this. He went on some whole spiel about that.
Meanwhile, season ticket holders that didn't want to pay a bunch of money to watch this, right? They tried to cancel their season tickets. And they were saying that, the season ticket.
Cronin's going to show you.
Cronin's going to show you. Cronin's going to make you forget all about Dame. This is something that was legitimately said by a season ticket rep, by the way. Cronin's going to make you forget all about Dame. Like, okay. I mean, I just don't understand how people don't see the comedy. Because at the end of the day, it is actually pretty funny. It is actually pretty hilarious when you step back and look at it for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of pain in the laughter,
Rich always brings the receipt. February trade deadline of 2023. There is no margin for error. We got to get this right. Cronin 2 months later. I'm young in this job. I'm learning. Sorry.
Oh, man. Cronin the Rockstar at FanFest will always be funny / laughable. LOL. Yeah. It just sucks because we're like fighting an information battle.
There's no way if you would have given him True Serum on FanFest night, like when he went home that night, if you would have talked to him on the phone, like let's say you're buddies with him and you called him after that, there's no way he would have been like, yeah, we're going to be like 10-26 and we're going to suck. Like, this roster is so bad. Like,
oh, but how did I know that players were going to get injured? They always do.
Dude, I bet he would have said, I think we're going to be in the play-in. We're going to be good.
Robert Williams is going to be huge for us. Oh, he got hurt again, like he always does. How could I have seen that coming?
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. It's funny. Like, him getting hurt ain't funny, but I expected him. At some point, you got to take the status quo for the status quo, and you got to expect the status quo to continue to be what it is. And with Robert Williams III, the status quo is he will get hurt. Do not expect him to be able to be healthy for an entire season. If he does, great. Pleasant surprise. The expectation should be that, unfortunately, for whatever reason, his body, his knees can't hold up for the course of an NBA season. I hate it. I wish it wasn't true. I feel awful for him.
Mm-hmm.
I have sympathy for him, But unfortunately, it just is what it is. And if you don't expect that, like, why don't you take into account the past 5 years? I don't know. I guess it's just blind optimism, which I freaking hate. I hate blind optimism. And then the blind optimism turns into such clairvoyant vision. Like, how could you expect this team to do anything with the roster they have?
Yep.
Man, oh man. Is there any prospects that can save us next year that you've seen, Eric, that you've watched?
I mean, Alex Sarr is really the only one I could see saving us or like being the right player we need. There's a lot of other players I think that could help us a lot, but like let's just take Cody Williams for example, someone I really like a lot and who I think can help a team. But like he's a three, so we just talked about playing sharp, like so I know you can play him like 36 minutes at the three, but it's still kind of awkward to need a three if we're keeping Anthony, Scoot, and Sharp. So yeah, it's just I don't know if there's like the right prospect that can help us in this particular draft other than Sarr. I think a lot of them could be rotation players moving forward for us, but not necessarily the star player we're needing.
If you want a long shot upside guy, to John Salon, however you say his name is, he's athletic. He looks like a legit 6'9". He's shooting the three ball well, like 38%. He looks like a deer out there on the court though. But apparently he hasn't been playing organized basketball for too long, and on draft night, he's not even going to be 19 yet. He's might be the youngest player in the draft. So if you can develop any sort of like ball handling ability with his like athleticism, with his shooting ability, like you could definitely have a player, and he's young enough that you can maybe have some hope that you can develop him into somebody that can do things, but I don't know if he's coordinated enough to be able to do those things, and that's not really something that you just develop. So, given how young he is, he could still be getting used to his height. I don't know when he stopped growing, but that's like a guy that's a little different than some of these just like safe, high floor, low ceiling guys. So he's somebody that's intriguing to me.
Yeah, I agree. Been trying to catch a game of his, but it's kind of hard with some of those international prospects.
Yeah. Yep. Anybody else you want to speak on? As I spam music on accident.
I watched Kentucky the other day. Dillingham continues to play really well. Shepherd looks pretty good. Yeah. I still like Wagner too, but
yep, Kentucky guards are intriguing. I mean, there's intriguing guards in this draft. I wish we needed guards, man.
Yeah.
I wish we needed guards. Anyway, chat, anything else you want us to get into? Anything from this game you want to get into? Or we'll have another stream on Thursday?
2 streams on Thursday.
2 streams, yeah, you're right. Does Ron Holland have no feel? Fair question. I don't know. He's skilled, but yeah, I kind of get why you asked that question, though, Eric. Eric Olson.
Yeah. I think he has feel defensively, not offensively, though. Just kind of.
Rip City Retro, if you find the timestamp of him whining about us, I would love to see the reaction from everybody else on the panel. I am curious. Because I was thinking about doing a playback thing with those guys. The guys that run like the Blazers playback. They reached out to us, and I'd be down to do it, Nothing against anyone, like I don't know the guys. They're probably cool guys. But
it was different. It was just Meringue by himself, I think.
Oh, okay, cool.
Doing that, yeah.
Awesome. I'm kind of glad to hear that because there's somebody that joined our Discord that like said they handle like Blazer playback stuff and seemed like a cool guy, so I was looking forward to it. I was just hoping that he wasn't like on there with Meringue, hating on us with Meringue,
Yeah.
Because it always sucks when like somebody you think you might be cool with someone like, and then you find out that they're hating on you, and
yeah,
that's happened before with people I've given YouTube advice to. Yeah, so chat, there is this person, Okay, a little story at the end of the stream. There was this person that like hit me up a couple of years ago and was just like, I want to start YouTube covering the Blazers. Like, what do I do? Do you have any advice? Like, blah, 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 blah. I was like, yeah, if you start out, just, do it for the fun of it. Do it for the passion, try, if you have the money, try and invest in some good equipment. Like, stuff I tell anybody, you know what I mean? Like, just try and have fun with it. Like, don't go into it with any, like, wild expectations. Don't go into it, like, expecting to chase numbers because it's hard, it's a grind, and you'll get discouraged. So just do it for the fun of it. And he immediately was like, okay, but when can I start making money off of it? I'm like, oh. His mind is not, I already know this mind is not in the right place. I'm like, well, you got to get, do this to get monetized and this and that. I was like, I gave him advice, but I said, like, it's a grind to get monetized, and then you're not going to make a ton of money off of it once you do. So you got to be able to do it for the passion, do it for the love. Like, if you need advice for equipment, let me know. Like, basically just try to give him the best advice I can. It was like very, I don't know. Like, I just try to be cool about it. Like, try and give good advice. Anybody that wants advice on this type of thing, I normally try and give them advice. Like, I'm down to help anybody that wants to do podcasting or do YouTube or that sort of thing. Like, it's cool. So then, like, a month later, I see this dude, like, replying to someone about someone else saying, oh, don't worry, he's a part of the Blazers Uprise cult. He doesn't know what he's talking about, or something like that. And then, like, there was another tweet where he is just, this dude that asked me for advice a month earlier is just roasting me. I'm just like, cool. Sick, man. Like, that's kind of lame. That's kind of lame to do. Just, like, insulting me. So, I don't know. Like, there's people that I've tried hard to just be cordial with, be cool with, and just... Some people, it doesn't matter. They hate our opinions, so they hate us, like, whatever. But that's why, like, the cult jokes were spawned from that statement. Like, we are a cult, baby. Fine, I'll embrace it. Yeah, we're a freaking cult. We brainwash everyone. Yeah.
While you were saying all that, it's funny because this is probably a couple months ago now, but I was having this exact conversation with Rich, not to get discouraged on like stuff, just like you seem like you're having fun just making videos, like just focus on that. Don't be so like, oh, I have this many subscribers and I need this many, or this video only got this many views and the last one got more. Like, why is this one not doing as well? And like that kind of stuff will drive you crazy, I think, especially when you're starting out.
Yeah, and also your expectations raise. And this is the thing with anything, like, something that's cool, once you get used to it, it's no longer as cool, right? So, like, I drove a really beat-up truck for the longest time, and then, I was just dreaming of, like, any decent car, like, would have been amazing to have, right? I finally was able to buy a 2018 Toyota Corolla. And when I first started driving it, I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this is my car. Like, this is insane. This is awesome. You know what I mean? Just had such an appreciation for it, drove it so carefully. But then, like, after a while, it's just like, got used to it. Like, yeah, this is just my car. Like, this is what I'm used to. It's still a nice car. Like, I still have an appreciation for it. But it's not, like, the same level of, like, oh my goodness, this is insane. This is awesome. It wasn't the same level of, like, dopamine rush from just stepping into my car. And that applies to anything, right? So when it comes to YouTube, if you, like, there was a day where getting 1,000 views on a post-game show was amazing, okay? At the start of last year, when the Blazers started 10-3, 10-4, whatever it was like, man, we're getting 5K, 6K, 7K. I'm not happy if I get less than 5K. My expectations rose. So what used to give me the same joy of getting 1K views, now the bar was set to 5K. And if you're constantly relying upon that joy from the numbers, you're going to get disappointed, because now it's like, man, like, we average between 2 and 3K, like, every stream, win or loss, like 2 and 3K right now. If the team was better, sure, we'd win more. But what I realized when the team started struggling last year, views dropped. I was upset about the team struggling, but then I was also, like, super upset because, man, like, the numbers, they're just not what they're, like, half of what they were when we were playing great. So if you get too caught up in that, you will mentally destroy yourself. And it's just kind of like a bigger lesson about life. A little life advice at the end of the stream. It's a bigger lesson about life. appreciate when something is new to you, or appreciate when you have something to achieve in front of you, right? Like, because if I look back to before I bought that car, like, I had all the joy that comes with getting a new car in front of me, getting a car that nice in front of me. I had all that joy coming my way. I could sit here and wallow like, oh, I don't have a nice car, like, this sucks. This is, I really wish I had a nice car. Like, I'm so tired of this crap. Like, I could have thought about it negatively. Instead, you think about it positively, like, one day I'm going to get this nice car. It's a motivational thing. But then also, it's all that joy, all that fun of getting something new like that, achieving something like that, because it is an achievement buying something like that. Having all that in front of you is kind of a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
So... and that translates directly to YouTube. Like, don't get too caught up in the views. You will do better views if you stick with it, if you put joy into it. That's the thing with Rich, is you can tell he enjoys his content. It makes it funner to watch, because you can tell he enjoys just making content. His humor is awesome. So that comes through to the viewer as well, I think. So just being able to have an appreciation for where you're at and not chasing things and chasing it in a negative way, I think is huge.
Yeah.
So, anyway, got all sentimental at the end. Didn't expect that, but yeah.
Good speech, Tori.
Thanks. Try my best. Try my best. Yes, we've been doing this for 5 years. Well, almost 5. More like 4.5. We started summer of 2019, right after the Western Conference Finals, and 4.5 years, and we have three playoff wins. You know what's funny is people just assume I'm just like the most negative person ever. Everything I just talked about is truly like how I think about life.
Yeah.
But like I'm not gonna BS when things are like not being done properly. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend with fake optimism when things are going bad. Like, when things are going bad, it's a more positive mindset to be like, okay, things are going the way I want. How can I fix this? How can I improve things? That's why I hate all the excuses that don't make sense. That's why they drive me crazy. But then I get labeled the negative guy because I want the mindset like, okay, this is a problem. This is legitimately a problem. Sometimes you got to admit when you have a problem in order to improve it, in order to fix it. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, we're just sitting here with blind optimism. It's like the meme with the dog in the burning house saying, this is fine. I don't like that. That's not good.
Yep. Do you want it to snow, Tori?
I mean, as long as I can drive in it, I'm cool with some snow. I got some snow in Sun River. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
I chased MySpace views. Good luck with that, Alex. I don't want it to be like 6 inches of snow. Although I did buy chains because I thought I would maybe have to drive through some pretty deep snow coming back from Sun River, and then didn't have to drive through anything. Like, it was a fake out. It was a pump fake. So, do you want it to snow, Eric?
I don't know. I love snow, but I also, if I still have to work, it doesn't make it easier for me. So, yeah, I don't know if I have to go to work. I guess it depends on how much snow there is.
Yeah.
If there was enough snow for me to not have to go to work, I'd enjoy that.
Tyler says it snowed over an inch. Maybe. I'm in Vancouver, so who knows? It's probably different. Me and Eric don't. We live in the Portland area, but like on opposite sides, and it's a pretty big area, so it's probably going to be different. Did I find the clubs in Sun River? You know what I love? I love when I'm not on a postgame stream and I can just come into chat and troll. It's very enjoyable. And I know you were getting a little annoyed with the random coaching names, the awful coaching names, but it was so funny. It was so dumb, you know what I mean? It was like one of those things that's so dumb is funny. So yeah, just tossing out like Urban Meyer. I was just like, who's the funniest dude I can think of right now? It was very enjoyable to be on chat side of it.
Well, then the stream before that, you were just arguing with Taylor the entire
yeah, it really was. I was just sitting on the couch at the place. It was a weird built little like timeshare. Probably used to be an apartment. It was strange, but yeah. I was
Yeah, we did
vibing. I was
Coach
enjoying
Prime.
that argument. What's
Yeah.
up?
Coach Prime. Yeah.
Yeah, Coach Prime. Dude, I think Deion Sanders would be harder on these players than Chauncey. And Deion Sanders is the player's coach. Chauncey just feels like a friend of the players. He doesn't feel like a coach. He's like just a buddy that's standing on the sidelines.
But don't dare laugh after a game.
If Miles Bridges is the favorite to come to the Portland Trailblazers, I have seen that. Bet against that because they won't bring in somebody of that character. Dude, if you wanted to see me really lose my mind at this organization, that's like the one thing they could do to just like triple down upon how bad they are is to bring in Miles Bridges. I would. You guys don't even know. Like, you guys don't even know. Do not bring that dude anywhere near my team.
That might be, pun intended, a bridge too far for my fandom.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
I don't know if I could watch this too with him on it.
Just every post-game show, just bring him up. Yeah, F him. He has 40. F him. Don't care. Yeah. Please, no. Should I be worried? They wouldn't do that, right?
No.
That's the one thing they care about is like we're not gonna bring in any Jailblazers type of guys. But no one on the Jailblazers did anything that bad though, right?
The only thing I can think of is if you got like similar to the Kevin Porter Jr. trade where was it OKC that traded for him and cut him? Or who traded for him and cut him? Yeah, someone did, and then they basically just got the assets and waived him right away. Yeah. Maybe. But yeah,
that I would be fine with. Like if they immediately cut him, like they're not bringing him in to be a part of the organization. They're actually bringing him in to make it so he's not on a team.
Yeah, as Airmaster points out, we do have Terrence Davis on the remix right now. So I guess.
Oh God.
I can't say 100% that they wouldn't do that because that's bad, but. Man.
See, that would be the one thing where like people that support Cronin would turn on him.
Yeah.
And I think he knows that.
Well, because he doesn't get. I mean, he's not going to get backlash for Chauncey because he can always just say that wasn't his hire or whatever. But technically, a lot of people believe Chauncey did something, and Ruben Patterson back in the day in the Jailblazers was accused of raping his nanny, so that's pretty bad.
Yeah, that's even worse. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's bad. Yikes.
But a lot of the future Jailblazers were just weed stuff, which isn't bad now, but there was dog fighting stuff going, some Michael Vick type stuff. Yeah.
There's the thing is like 99% of NBA players, at least from what I can tell, are fine. Like it's only a few guys that have issues. It's not hard to keep guys like that off your team. Cuz luckily they're the exception, not the rule. So
shut up, Dro. What are you even talking about?
What does that even mean?
I don't know.
That's a great comment to end the stream on, man. Post game. Wow. That's a great comment. Post game show on Thursday will be probably the same time. going live like 8:30 p.m. Pacific. The game starts at 5, so it'll be over like 7:30 p.m. Pacific, so another late post-game show. But with this team getting absolutely mollywopped like they are, and we're playing OKC, so there's about to be another 20-30 point blowout. Like, if we go live an hour late, we're still doing post-game shows. We don't front run and only do shows when we win, because I know that's a thing for some channels. We're here after every game. Tuesdays and Thursdays are a little rough because of our schedules, but every other day going forward should be good to go. Should be good to go.
Yep.
Although we do have 5 p.m. another at OKC game, 5 p.m. on January 23rd on a Tuesday. So yeah, Tuesdays and Thursdays are rough, but
yeah. Colt says then we signed Chance Comanche. Well, he was charged for murder this year. He was on a team for one game last year, so technically he was a former Blazer, but he wasn't on the Blazers when he committed murder, apparently, allegedly. Yeah. Or I think he admitted to it already, so yeah.
Yeah, he did. What the hell, man? Like, you're playing professional basketball. Why? Like, obviously there's no excuse for anything that heinous.
Mm-hmm.
I just understand it even less when it's just like, man, like you're doing something that a lot of people would dream of. What is wrong with you? Like, I don't get it. Don't understand. Anyway, we are getting into a lot of heavy stuff to end this stream.
Thank you for watching. Appreciate you all.
Yep, screw Chance Comanche and screw Miles Bridges. That is all. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you to BetUS for sponsoring this post-game stream. Once again, if you want to enter for those Super Bowl tickets, you got to do 3 things, okay? You got to place a bet on any NFL line and share your bet slip on X/Twitter. Has to be a minimum of $25. Tag at BetUS official and the friend you're inviting, and use hashtag BetUSLV III, which is the Super Bowl Roman numeral. I'm going to retweet something right now with your instructions of how to enter. So if you want to enter to win Super Bowl tickets, go look at my latest retweet and sign up. And when you sign up for BetUS, use the link in the description box below. Gives you a 125% deposit match and helps out the channel. Shout out to them for sponsoring the stream.
And if you win Super Bowl tickets, please bring Tori or myself so we can go watch the Niners.
Why is Blazers Press on Reddit again? Is there another thread about us?
It's probably that. Know. It's probably that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I love our haters. Simon's to Miami for Tyler Hero. Okay, with that being said, it's time to end the stream. Hopefully you guys have a good rest of your night. And I hope you guys have a good Wednesday. We will catch you on Thursday with Blazers Uprise live on our second channel. And the post-game show going live around 8:30 p.m. Pacific time. With that being said, we're out of here. We'll catch you next time. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.